The morning sun filtered through the grand bay windows of the Newman Ranch, casting long shadows across the polished marble floors. Victor Newman stood at the center of his opulent study, his broad shoulders squared like a general surveying a battlefield. At 75, he was a titan undiminished by time, his steely blue eyes reflecting the ruthless ambition that had built an empire from the ashes of his turbulent youth. Today, those eyes burned with a singular focus: destruction. Not of lives, perhaps, but of legacies. Billy Abbott, Cain Ashby, Jack Abbott, they were thorns in his side, insects buzzing around the flame of his dominion. And Victor intended to sweep them down, one calculated strike at a time. He paced slowly, his hand trailing over the edge of his massive oak desk, where a sleek laptop hummed softly, its screen displaying encrypted files labeled Project Eclipse. It was an AI program, a digital weapon he'd acquired through shadowy channels, promising to unravel the financial threads of Chancellor Winters and Jabot with surgical precision. Michael Baldwin, his once loyal lawyer and now reluctant double agent, had delivered it just last night, his face pale under the ranch's chandelier light. "Victor, this isn't just risky, it's criminal," Michael had whispered, but Victor had only chuckled, a low rumble that echoed like thunder. "Criminal? Michael, my friend, in business, the line between genius and felony is drawn by the victor." Now, alone, Victor leaned over the desk, his fingers dancing across the keys. The AI's interface glowed with possibilities, predictive algorithms that could forecast stock dips, fabricate scandals from thin air, and siphon data like a ghost in the machine. His first target, Billy Abbott. That smug, self-destructive heir to a fortune he barely deserved. Victor's lips curled into a predatory smile as he initiated a subroutine: anonymous leaks to key investors, whispers of embezzlement tied to Billy's impulsive decisions at Chancellor. It would start small, a ripple in the market, but by week's end, it would be a tsunami. A soft knock interrupted his reverie. "Enter," Victor barked, straightening up. The door swung open, revealing Adam Newman, his son and reluctant ally in this corporate war. Adam, with his sharp jaw and darker eyes, carried the same Newman ruthlessness but tempered by a cynicism born of too many betrayals. He held a tablet in one hand, his expression a mask of calculated indifference. "Father. The board's antsy. They want assurances on the merger with Chancellor." Victor waved a dismissive hand. "Assurances? Tell them to trust the man who built this from nothing. And Adam, keep an eye on Michael. He's wavering." Adam nodded, stepping closer. "Already on it. But what about Cain? Word is he's cozying up to Billy again. If they align." Victor's eyes narrowed. "Cain Ashby is a snake in khakis. Always has been. But snakes can be charmed or crushed." He turned back to the screen, his voice dropping to a gravelly whisper. "This AI, it's our Excalibur. Billy thinks he can play CEO. Cain thinks he can manipulate from the shadows. I'll show them what a real empire looks like when it strikes." Adam lingered for a moment, sensing the depth of his father's vendetta. There was something almost personal in it this time, beyond the boardrooms and balance sheets. Victor's fury with Jack Abbott ran deeper, rooted in that night at the rehab clinic, when Jack had risked everything to pull Nikki from the brink of relapse. Victor had vowed then, in the sterile hallway reeking of antiseptic and regret, that the Abbotts would pay. Now, with the AI as his sword, the reckoning began. Across town, in the sleek glass tower of Chancellor Winters, Billy Abbott slammed his office door hard enough to rattle the framed awards on the wall. At 45, Billy was a man caught between boyish charm and bitter resentment, his boy-next-door looks hardened by years of addiction, divorce, and the endless Abbott-Newman feud. Today, that resentment boiled over like cheap whiskey left too long in the sun. Jill had sold Chancellor to Victor, his birthright, or so he delusionally claimed, without so much as a courtesy call. And now, Cain Ashby, that Australian opportunist with a smile like a used car salesman, thought he could waltz in and dictate terms? Billy poured himself a scotch from the crystal decanter on his desk, the amber liquid sloshing angrily. He downed it in one gulp, the burn of familiar comfort against the sting of betrayal. Jill, his own mother, had chosen Victor over him. Again. The door buzzed, and he barked, "What?" Kane Ashby entered, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit that screamed old money he didn't quite earn. At 48, Kane was the picture of polished duplicity, tall, dark-haired, with an accent that could charm a viper. He'd clawed his way back into Genoa City's elite after scandals that would have buried lesser men, and now he eyed Billy like a mentor assessing a wayward pupil. "Billy, mate. Rough morning?" Billy snorted, pouring another drink. "Save the therapy session, Kane." "What do you want?" "Another lecture on family values while you cozy up to my mother behind my back?" Kane closed the door softly, his expression shifting from affable to authoritative. He crossed the room in 3 strides, planting his hands on Billy's desk. "I'm here because you need me, Billy. And deep down, you know it. Victor's got his hooks in Chancellor now, and Jill, well, she's hurting. But this isn't about her. It's about you taking back what's yours." Billy's eyes flashed with skepticism. "And what's your angle? You think I don't see it? You're playing both sides, Jill's confidant one day, my puppet master the next." Kane straightened, unperturbed. "My angle is simple, survival. Victor's coming for all of us. I've got something that can stop him cold, an AI software, cutting edge, designed to predict and counter his every move. It can topple his empire before he even knows he's under fire. But I need you, Billy. Your access, your name at Chancellor. Use it. Crush him." Billy paused, the glass halfway to his lips. "AI?" The word hung in the air like a promise or a poison pill. He'd heard rumors, tech whispers from Silicon Valley contacts, but nothing concrete. "And what's the catch?" "Nothing's free with you, Kane." Kane's smile was thin, almost paternal. "2 conditions. First, official confirmation, you agree to deploy the software under Chancellor Winter's banner. No half measures. Second, patch things up with Jill. She's your mother, Billy. More than business, this is personal. She's upset, and you charging in like a bull only makes it worse." Billy laughed bitterly, setting the glass down with a clink. "Patch things up? After she sold my legacy to the mustache? Excluded me like I'm some intern? And you, her golden boy, get to whisper in her ear while I get scraps?" Kane's voice hardened, the Aussie lilt sharpening like a blade. "Disrespected? I get it. But respect isn't demanded, Billy, it's earned." Jill's decisions came from pain, not spite. Victor preyed on that. "You want to honor her? Or wallow in this resentment until it eats you alive? Choose." The room fell silent, save for the distant hum of the city below. Billy stared at Kane, the weight of the offer pressing down. The AI could be his Excalibur, a way to rewrite the narrative, to prove he wasn't the screw-up everyone whispered about. But reconciling with Jill? That meant swallowing pride, facing the mirror of his own failures. He leaned back in his chair, fingers drumming the desk. Kane extended a hand, his grip firm when Billy took it. "No traps, mate. Just war." Meanwhile, at the Abbott mansion, the air was thick with the scent of fresh coffee and unspoken tensions. Jack Abbott sat at the breakfast nook, his newspaper folded neatly beside a half-eaten croissant. At 70, Jack was the elder statesman of Genoa City's drama, a man whose handsome features bore the scars of too many heartbreaks, yet whose spirit remained unyieldingly optimistic. Today, that optimism warred with worry as he glanced at his watch. Nikki was due any minute, and the words he needed to say churned like acid in his gut. The doorbell chimed, a melodic intrusion. Phyllis Summers, his on-again, off-again flame, breezed in from the hallway, her red hair a fiery halo. Expecting someone? Or just me making house calls? Jack managed to smile, standing to kiss her cheek. Nikki. It's important. Phyllis's eyes narrowed, that trademark intuition flaring. Trouble in paradise? Or should I say, ex-paradise? Before he could answer, the door opened again, and there she was, Nikki Newman, elegant in a cream blouse and pearls, her blonde waves framing a face that could still launch 1,000 boardroom coups. At 68, Nikki was a survivor, through cancer, alcoholism, and Victor's endless tempests. But lately, the shadows under her eyes spoke of fresh battles. Jack, she said warmly, embracing him. Her gaze flicked to Phyllis, a flicker of old rivalry. Phyllis. Always a pleasure. Phyllis excused herself with a wink, I'll be in the den if you need a referee, leaving them alone. Jack guided Nikki to the table, pouring her coffee with steady hands. Nikki, thanks for coming. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't urgent. She sipped, her blue eyes searching his. You've got that look, Jack. The one that says Genoa City's about to implode. What's Victor done now? Jack sat across from her, leaning forward. It's not just what he's done, it's what he's about to do. And it involves all of us. Me, Billy, even Kane. Victor's gone full supervillain, Nikki. He's got his hands on some AI program, black market stuff, from what I hear. It's designed to dismantle companies from the inside. Leaks, hacks, market manipulations. He's targeting Chancellor first, but Jabot's next. Nikki's cup paused midair, her composure cracking just a fraction. AI? Victor's always been ahead of the curve, but this, criminal? Worse than that. He's recruited Michael as a double agent. My sources say he's plotting a triple threat, hit Billy where it hurts, his ego and his CEO dreams. Kane's scheming too, pulling strings with that software of his own. And me? After what happened at the clinic, he sees me as the ultimate betrayer. Nikki set her cup down, her hand trembling slightly. Memories flooded back, the dim lights of the rehab center, Jack's voice steady as he coaxed her through the delirium tremens, his own sobriety hanging by a thread. Victor had found out, exploded in rage, vowing the Abbot's downfall. Jack, you saved me. Risked everything. If Victor's coming for you because of that. He's coming for all of us, Jack interrupted gently. Kane's using Billy as a pawn, promising him the world with counter-AI tech, but demanding he reconcile with Jill first. It's a powder keg. Billy's furious, drinking again, ready to lash out. And Victor? He's multitasking like it's a game of chess. One wrong move, and it all blows up. Nikki rose, pacing to the window overlooking the manicured gardens. The roses bloomed defiantly, a stark contrast to the thorns in her life. I can't just stand by. Victor's my husband, Jack. Flawed, furious, but mine. What do you expect me to do? Storm the ranch and demand he stop? Jack stood, placing a hand on her shoulder. Talk to him. Not as the wife placating the king, but as the woman who knows his heart. Remind him that revenge doesn't fill the voids, it digs them deeper. And Nikki, watch your back. If he finds out I warned you. She turned, her eyes fierce. He won't hear it from me. But Jack, thank you. For always seeing the storm before it hits. As she left, Jack sank back into his chair, the weight of unspoken fears pressing down. Genoa City was a tinderbox, and today, September 17th, 2025, the match was lit. Back at Chancellor Winters, the tension in Billy's office had thickened into something tangible, like fog rolling off the lake. Kane had pulled up a chair, his tablet now connected to the desk's monitor, the AI interface blooming to life in holographic splendor, a cascade of data streams, neural networks pulsing like veins. "See this?" Kane said, pointing to a simulated attack vector. "Victor's got Eclipse running simulations on your stock portfolio. But my baby, let's call it Shadow, we can mirror it, flip it back on him. Predict his leaks, counter with our own narratives." By Friday, Newman's shares tanked 15%. Billy leaned in, mesmerized despite himself. The code scrolled like poetry, elegant and lethal. "It's beautiful. Dangerous as hell, but beautiful." He straightened, rubbing his jaw. "All right, Kane. Condition 1, I'm in. Deploy Shadow under my authority." "But Jill, that's not a switch I can flip." Kane's expression softened, just a touch. "Start small. A call. Tell her you're sorry for the blow-up. Not for her decisions, for the pain. She's tough, Billy, but even titans crack." Billy scoffed, but there was a crack in his armor, a glimpse of the vulnerable boy beneath the bravado. "Sorry. From me?" She'd think aliens invaded. Or she'd see her son, Kane countered. "Look, I care about Jill. More than you know. She's been like a mother to me too, in ways. Seeing her torn up over this? It kills me. And you charging ahead blind? It'll get you both killed, figuratively, at least." Billy studied him, searching for the lie. Kane's eyes held steady, a rare authenticity shining through. "Fine," Billy muttered finally. "I'll call her. After we test this thing." Kane grinned, clapping him on the back. "That's the spirit. Now, let's run a dry sim on Newman Enterprises. Watch the empire crumble." As the algorithms whirred, Billy felt a surge of power, intoxicating and terrifying. For the first time in months, he wasn't the underdog, he was the hunter. But deep down, a whisper nagged, at what cost? At the Newman Ranch, Victor's strategy session unfolded like a war council in a Renaissance painting. He'd summoned Adam and Victoria to the study, the air heavy with leather-bound books and unspoken ambitions. Victoria Newman Locke, his daughter, entered first, 42, fierce in a power suit, her dark hair pulled into a no-nonsense ponytail. She was the apple that hadn't fallen far, her business acumen sharpened by years of proving herself in a man's world. "Father," she said, kissing his cheek. "You look like you're plotting world domination. Again."